Hey, everybody, all you Prophet apologists out there, you pale-faced, skinny little chubby-cheeked kids. Welcome to episode 108 of Tactical Crouch. I'm KickedTripod, joined by Yiska and Volamel. And, hey, good to see you all. Welcome to the show. We've got a ton to talk about today. Summer Showdown is back. We're going to discuss that. Yiska, we had to kind of talk him down a little bit. You kind of came into the Discord call a little angry, and I think sounds like you're in a good place now, Yiska.
I'm good.
Good.
So he's a fiery person. He's easily ignitable, but when you get him going, you just got to point him in a direction and just let him cook.
Loose cannon, is that what you Americans use for that?
Maybe. I don't think you're a loose cannon, but
You're a cannon, that's for sure.
sure.
So, anyways, we're gonna talk about this in a second because I think it's an interesting conversation. I think I won't spoil it yet. Before we get started, though, a big thank you to everybody who's here joining us live Monday and Wednesday at twitch.tv/KickedTripod. And you can now find the show on YouTube at youtube.com/tacticalcrouch. I actually rebranded my channel to Tactical Crouch, so nothing changes. If you already subscribed there, nothing changes. However, if you're like, oh man, John, I loved it when you post those tech videos or audio videos, and I like those too, I have my own channel now. It doesn't have a custom URL yet, but you should just be able to search for it. I posted it on my Twitter, twitter.com/KickedTripod. The link is there for now. So if you have the ability to and don't mind, hop over and subscribe to that. It'd mean a ton to me, so I can get that custom URL and we can kind of keep moving there. Other than that, we do record Spike Drop every Friday, twitch.tv/KickedTripod at noon Pacific time as well. So come join us for that. Other than that, let's get into the news, brought to you by our patron producers. Battlecrab Pin Lotion, Charlie L, Audio Compass, Pork Chop, Sammy, Kasha67, Kuchi Kopi, Shara Picasso, Nathan, Your Misery, Hunter Tane, Refined Bean, Rex Zane, and Roger B. So many of you. Wow. Y'all are just...
That's a new name at the end, right?
Yeah,
Roger B. Way to be, Roger B. Brand new patron producer. Welcome. And if you do like the show and want to support, 3 great ways to do it. Number 1, go to patreon.com/tactical crouch. We got some cool perks and tiers and like subscriber or patron specific Discord channels. We'd love for you to be a part of that. Subscribe at twitch.tv/KickedTripod. We're at 104 today, which is amazing. So cool. Thank you so much for subscribing, and anybody else who does, we will thank you at the end of the show. And finally, we do have a tip link as well. If you're like, I just want to give a one-time little thank you or whatever, you can do that in the panels down below in the Twitch video. Okay, that's enough. Let's talk about this, and we're going to broaden this conversation slightly. So Joe wrote an article about student syndrome plagues Prophet's career, and it opened up a broader conversation and some really bad takes about
Interesting.
Not on the article, not what you said. No, not what you said. No.
He means so.
The comments that came in afterward.
The results.
Not about your, like, listen, even if I didn't like it, even if I didn't like it, I wouldn't do you dirty like that on the show. That you come here for 100, you've come here 188 times. I'm just like, F you, Joe. Like,
this article sucks.
I'm not going to do that to you.
Yeah, it's no big deal.
But there's kind of this, Overwatch has always had revisionist history. We've
very.
And I will admit, I think I thought Prophet was more immune to that than he seems to be, given some of the comments that we saw today. So Joe, first of all, give us like I want people to go read your article. So of course it's going to be in the show notes, and you should just go read the article. But can you give us kind of like a synopsis or the premise so that Yiska can get out whatever he needs to get out, clear the bowels of his thoughts?
So the thought process behind the article, or just like a TLDR, is, you know, kind of charting his career. He's always been a player that has had a story of evolution, and I don't think that that's necessarily a fair or accurate lens to kind of view that through. I've always looked at it. I think Monty kind of planted the seed in my head of the London core just kind of being these like C-level students that really don't show up until like test day. And that's when they kind of rise to the occasion, and they have to be pressured to really feel alive in a sense. And I've kind of boiled that down to Prophet in particular, because there's so many other problems with every other member of that like kind of core roster. And Prophet is the person that kind of remains constant, but also can slump and cannot be super on. And it's not because he can't. It's because I think he really doesn't care or want to, or is kind of checked out. It's not for lack of skill. It's for lack of motivation. I kind of phrase it in the articles being bored. You know, he's in math class. He wants to be in astronomy, or he wants to be in, you know, history. He wants to be in the class with the teacher that really gets him, or is on a similar wavelength. And I kind of frame that teacher as being Gesture, is like his shadow, and being the professor that really unlocks him. And the article closes with wondering what would happen if Prophet kind of left, you know, Dr. Gesture's you know, lectures. What would happen if he kind of flew the coop? Would he become better or worse? And kind of leaving it there. But yeah, that's the gist of it.
Definitely go read it, check it out. Speculative piece for sure.
This is just a narrative
of like, what would it look like? What if this was what was going on, and the steps to fix it. But I know Yiska made a cardinal rule mistake. You went to the competitive Overwatch subreddit comments.
Okay, let me
you sorted by controversial. And
no, I did not. It sadly was towards the top of the comments, and it was okay. Let me first get on the article where I disagree with Joe. I think if you leave out that professor thing, and you put wherever you put Prophet, you put the name Gesture. I agree with you. This guy consistently shows up in the first couple of weeks in scrims looking like he has not played Overwatch. That has been the case for Season 2 and Season 3. It's something that coaches have always relayed. While I think that Prophet is more of a grinder in general. I also don't know how the ranked accounts for both of those fall. It's also not something I've researched. I also think that Gesture has had more dips in his career than Prophet. So Season 1.
Agree.
So that builds also, I guess, brief elevator explanation. Until this Seoul versus Shanghai grand final, Prophet had never lost a grand final, or Gesture. In his career
that they participated
in. Yes.
Right.
Every grand final they had won, they played, they won.
Yeah.
And famously in Epic Season 4, he almost doubled Hacksalt's kills in a nuts performance. By the way, like someone rightly pointed out, he had apparently played Genji against LW Red before, but not a representative amount of time. Was definitely something that wasn't believed to be like a strong pick of his.
Like a staple
comes
hero.
in Epic's Season 4, they have this strategy, and Prophet goes nuts on the hero. Has 130 kills to
I mean, I remember who was in that call. I remember people flipping out at like 5 a.m.
Yeah.
Wonderful story. One day we'll get to, but it's this kid does magic.
Then we get into season 1. I thought he played a pretty good season 1 stage final. They also keep in mind it's bringing it back after a very, very long day for them, where they had to, very similar to actually what Shanghai and Thingy had to do. So we go through this. Stage 2 and 3, London dips. Prophet never does. Prophet remains the best player for them statistically, like generally, still delivers really solid performances. The team finds itself somewhere in stage 4. We go into the grand finals and he claps Carpe. Yeah. Right? Like, it wasn't solely because also Bertring was once again activated. Playing good. And maybe even played better in that grand final than Prophet did. But Prophet definitely had the clutch factors, like, for instance, if people remember the Volskaya pop-off and whatnot, right? Like, where Carpe looked like a fool in that play. You go into season 2, and now he has to play 2 completely different roles in GOATs. He has to flex around. He is already considered one of the best brigades in the game at the time. Has a really solid Zarya, but he constantly, like, I think there was 2 switches back and forth where he has to play. Naturally, cannot be an absolute top performer, but still the most solid after Fury in my mind. On the Spitfire, someone rightly points out that doesn't mean much on a team that underperforms as heavily. I think the rest of the team was just so atrocious in GOATs that it does mean something. Yeah, definitely. They definitely had that burnout feel of, like, we just won a championship and this is a completely new thing. Keep in mind that when the game switches as much as it does, it's really hard to remain competitive. The same was true for the Fusion as well, who were excelling at that Grand Finals meta, then come along. I think he was still consistent. I think in his career prior to season 3, he probably had 5 bad matches ever since we've seen it on a professional stage. He was very consistent in his performances.
I feel I would agree with the sentiment that, like, he rarely has, like, bad games where it's like, oh, where was Prophet today? Like, Prophet was kind of quiet. Like, that doesn't happen as much as it does for seemingly other people. But yeah, I would agree with that. I wouldn't put a number to it, but yeah.
I totally agree. And I think that taints the discussion and taints also the tone around this discussion and muddles it in people's minds. That Prophet has been underwhelming this season for large parts on any hero that isn't Tracer.
Sure.
His Echo is not good. His where he flexes to the other heroes are at best decent, I would say. He's not something that turns ahead. And the way for him to find back into the season is for Soul to probably either embrace that or for him to really improve. And to a degree, we've seen that with Soul being able to once again play dive.
Sure.
So maybe that's a possibility. The problem that I had with Reddit is that they used your article in order to invalidate the claim that, or the candidacy of Prophet for a GOAT candidate.
Yeah, no, guys. Put the guns down. Put the pitchforks away. This is not. He's the leading candidate, guys. I don't know how else to. Should I make a part 2 Electric Boogaloo type style article where it's like, no, guys, you're all wrong. Like, he's still really, really good.
This is it. Actually, this is the article.
Oh, this is part 2. Okay, well, maybe we'll have to write part 3.
and it especially stung because I felt like, especially in season 1, I had to fight.
Oh yeah, you were banging that drum.
Like, I don't think he received a pick for best player.
I don't think so.
On the ballot. He was completely ignored for his almost always really, really good performances, 2 stellar performances, and then people in the grand finals kind of woke up and were like, "Oh, god damn it! Like, he can swing." When honestly, that wasn't among his best performances that season.
What were the heroes that, or the players that people were looking at for that? So obviously, Jonak, Fissure,
Carpe.
For GOAT?
For
just for
MVP,
like regular season MVP in season 1.
What's Carpe?
Carpe, Jonak.
I don't remember a lot of DPS players just being there, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, Agilities I think got a few votes, if I remember correctly.
Agilities got a few votes.
Yeah,
Kareev got votes.
Kareev got votes. It's true.
Yeah, I feel like I remember a lot of flex support and main tank.
Yeah.
I think Striker got a bunch, which was fair.
Yeah. I don't hate that.
But to never see Prophet named, even though his numbers were always there. And I think numbers back then meant a lot more than they do now. I feel like the numbers that we're using, yes, because we're playing mirror comps. So
true.
Like, what does damage mean if I'm playing against double shield, for instance?
Yeah, you have a direct, like a more direct reflection if you're playing a mirror. That's true.
Yeah. So, yeah, I feel like we shouldn't sully his legacy because
not at all.
That is, I feel, yes, now it's getting to the point, especially with London not playing that well or not getting far in season 2. There are now more candidates, definitely. Huxal has to be named. Rascal is getting closer. Maybe someone like who else would I say? Maybe Manos, like if they go long, even though he also hasn't won anything else than stage finals.
Yeah, I think somebody like a Fleta would need to get a couple more W's in that column before you can start kind of throwing him around, but definitely has the potential to be, depending on the length of his career.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a lot of candidates, but I still think that Carpe's definitely leading the pack in that front.
Carpe?
The thing is, once again, as your other article pointed out,
Profit. Okay, yeah. Carpe is probably leading the pack behind Profit.
Yeah, I'd have to think.
And I had a great article about that as well.
Yeah, well, we talked about it, right? Where it's like if they finish this year, yes.
He's also like, I'm not gonna lie, to talk about somebody who has been absent more times than not. Well, not more times than not. That's definitely the wrong way to put it. Recently, let's say, Melee for Philly, Carpe was looking kind of rough.
Yeah.
Definitely was
not
on that day.
Philly looked kind of rough.
Across the board, sure.
But that's a pattern for him in playoffs, I feel. And it's also, like, make no mistake, Prophet was most definitely a better player in season 2 than Carpe was throughout the season, right? Like, that's not controversial.
Sure. Sure.
Philly was a better team, but
I also say he has been consistently, when Hitscan is top, like, he is nuts and he's worth his money, and he's definitely someone I would build around. But he needs, in order to be considered a GOAT, and that's also the point you made, he needs wins, and he needs to perform in these wins to gain himself the position or the claim of a GOAT. And he hasn't. The only victory he has that is meaningful, and I would even say that isn't that meaningful, is the World Cup with
it doesn't
with Korea.
So does a tournament structure for Overwatch League change the value of those wins? If you like string together 2 or 3 monthly tournament wins together, does that equate like one overall season win?
One tournament win for the season? Definitely not. I think the season's like the big one, but it's still important, right? Like, these tournaments are still very valuable, just like how we were trying to like build up stage, finals and playoffs. It's important to have these not minor. They don't feel minor. They don't feel that doesn't feel like it gives it enough impact, but like majors and super majors, maybe that'd be better. Whereas like a regular season title or a championship is a championship. It's a super major-esque title. Whereas these tournaments or these stage final, wins are just important, but just like a step down. They're important to kind of measure who's the best at the time. They still matter. But getting a ring, is the end all be all. That's the goal for sure.
Yeah. And also, like, there is a distinct lack of emotional control among those that in those finals, where, like, I would count Carpe to that because he isn't playing up to his level, but maybe he's also being countered because he's the biggest threat in his team.
Sure.
But I would also say Huxal falls under that with the runaway curse that, yes, admittedly they broke, and also they got a stage final. But I would even say that also manifested in season 2 finals, where that, like, you know what I'm talking about. We're not going to talk about it. But
is that, I don't know. I feel like that's like, it is, but it's like kind of circumstantial. I don't think that that's, I don't know. It counts.
It's not an outlier. Oh. So I in general, I think this is is like mastering the moment where the pressure is the greatest is an ability that a GOAT needs to represent for me. And with the exception of the Seoul game against Shanghai, where in many ways Shanghai had a very Prophet-esque ability to come back and also to just like perform when pressure was high. I feel like that is the edge that Prophet has in a lot of these situations.
Yeah, I don't know how
you could seem to care about the game. He just plays his normal excellent level. I don't even think he elevates much, but because people drop off around him when the crowd is like the biggest, it's just by contrast so noticeable.
See, I feel like I view it slightly differently. I think we come to the same conclusion. I just have my own kind of lens on that, or my own viewpoint. I do think he kind of rises to the occasion. I think that, especially in Apex Season 4, that was very prominent, at least for me. I think attempting to salvage Season 2 London probably was on the back of Prophet and anybody trying to kind of mend this roster. Him moving around and being flexible is a sign of somebody who wants to kind of chug along and shift to his team. And I think he does perform better in high pressure situations. I don't think his team necessarily falls away. I think that they usually come with him to a degree, but he can just reach these peaks, but has a consistent value. And I don't think it actually kind of boggles my mind that was like the main takeaway from the article, was that like, oh yeah, you're right. He is kind of bad.
No, it's hot take nature, right? Like,
no, I know.
I think just in general, we see this a lot, and I don't point this directly at like our cow people. I think just like Overwatch League fans in general who think of the league beyond just I'm watching because I like my team, but like they make their own power rankings and they try to have their own opinions on the game. Having that controversial or opinion, especially when you've never created something that has stakes to like to discount what you like maybe previously said or thought. Like, it's just a really easy way to get some internet points, and I like it happens, and that's part of it too. But I think a lot of people are just a lot of our cow is well, I always felt like he was this anyways, and here I am validated right now in this moment with the lens of this article, and therefore
here I am
all bowed down before Zod.
Here's the thing that I think a lot of people have a problem with, and I sympathize, because when you hear GOAT, you think Michael Jordan, you think Lionel Messi or Cristiano Ronaldo, who are outstanding, winning 6 seasons in a row type of stuff.
Who's the
like,
GOAT
undeniably
baseball player from a German perspective, by the way? Like American baseball player.
I don't even know a single name.
Nothing.
Legitimately the only baseball player I've ever known is Trevor May.
He's not the GOAT. Love him. He's a good pitcher. He's not the GOAT. But not even like Derek Jeter, A-Rod, Babe Ruth, Mickey Mantle. None of those names?
No.
Okay.
Hockey does. Wayne Gretzky, right? That's the name I know.
Gretzky,
that's hockey.
Sure.
Wayne Gretzky. Yeah, I think probably Sidney Crosby is probably, I don't know if but we're not opening. I'm not opening that can of worms.
Touch that.
If you're going to say something right now, I am not making an opinion statement about the greatest hockey player of all time. We're not
Now,
doing that. Okay. Anyways.
Let's also bring it to another esport. The fakers.
Sure.
If you want to say forests or whatever. These had tenured careers where they had periods where they were just unbeatable. We don't have that in Overwatch.
No,
we only
not yet,
have flawed gold candidates. I agree Prophet has glaring holes in his performance. But the thing is, every other person you can point out to me has
holes.
Has even either not had the length of a career to make that case, or it has also glaring performance issues during certain parts of their career. Also, probably because we keep changing the game so much and the formats and everything that's around it, right? Yep. So, yes, like we don't have a definitive GOAT. We don't have one that feels like a definitive GOAT. We don't have a Michael Jordan. We don't have a Faker. We don't have these characters. But Prophet, because of how he performs in Grand Finals, the achievements that he has, to me, is the closest. I'm not mad if you mention names like Huxal, like Rascal now that they actually got W's on their name. Like, honestly, you ready for this?
Oh God,
I'm starting to think Void, dude.
In a weird way, we've definitely chatted about that, and he's unassuming, but has a very, very positive track record behind him. So I think he's quietly making a claim.
Dude, we thought of this guy as the best off-tank player in Apex Season 2. Then he, for some inexplicable reason, doesn't play Season 1 of OWL. Comes in Season 2, is already really good on Gladiators, even though, like, yes, he can remain playing D.Va throughout all of this, and it gives it. But now, like, he's probably legitimately the best player for me on Shanghai. He's definitely a Roadstar candidate this year. And if he actually gets the wins this year, like, imagine Shanghai going there, then he has a stage final, or not stage. It's not equivalent. It's probably harder to win a stage than it was to win a tournament, simply because you had to qualify through 10 games, right?
Sure.
And also less teams were able to participate. But he has a title in some form, and if he keeps stacking those titles, yes, it's a smaller region. Okay. It's still a very competitive region. But if he also gets the grand finals against the Phillies, against the Shock, then we're talking.
Hard to argue.
It's time to qualify the statements that were just said, because people are going to lose their shit. So,
I mean, I feel like you did.
I feel like you did, but I feel like people need it qualified again.
Mm-hmm.
It's let's think of it this way. Chat, YouTube. This is somebody who's a name that you probably haven't heard before in a GOAT discussion being introduced into that discussion. It's a natural inclination to want to immediately dismiss it, lash out, be angry about it. Cool. Fine.
Yes.
And even disagree. Totally cool and fine. And you know, like, there's the fact that we just said right now that there's really no definitive Michael Jordan Faker-esque GOAT in Overwatch League means that this is a far more nuanced conversation for Overwatch than most other sports and esports.
Yep. And again, don't twist what he said. These are candidates. He's not saying Void is the greatest player of all time. He's saying he's quietly making a case to become. He's not putting him over somebody like Choi Hoban, who I think has more of a stake in that.
Exactly. And that's where people go. Big names.
That's another name.
But what he's saying is that Void's on that short list of players who could make a case, some more than others, but he, with the track record he's shown, could be on that list. I think you could argue that.
It's also about like how you value Overwatch League against pre-Overwatch League and longevity of a career in a game that is notoriously hard to have a long career, but also while keeping in mind that he, for large parts, only had to play D.Va. Fair enough. But also D.Va has gone through iterations, which he struggled a little bit with the Matrix changes that were actually career killers for a lot of
where's Woohyal
during this time.
Anybody remember where Woohyal went?
I never rated
was
him
on
very
track.
highly anyway, so
I think I very much did. This kid was incredible.
You didn't get my sarcasm. I never rated him very high anyway.
Sorry.
Let me go to Reddit and tell him about how
that kid fell off a cliff with the defense matrix changes. Like, that was, I think we really undervalue how much D.Va has gone through change and how much that really impacted player career and player styles and what style of D.Va you needed to kind of become to be good and how tough that is to kind of adapt to. So, yeah, I think.
And it is the problem. I have a video on this where it's like judging off tanks is nuts hard.
Oh yeah, it's
because this role is judged by very different metrics than, for instance, a DPS would be. Right? Like, it's not about clicking heads, and it's not only about noticing when someone swallowed an ultimate in the kill feed. It can be, because Meko also was one of the most killing blowy has been in the Overwatch League, right? But it's about having awareness and judging these types of things. It's really hard. The thing I notice is that he consistently is rated as one of the most pesky players and best players to play against. Not best players to play against. You know what I mean? When you talk to professionals in the scene, Void is a name that you hear consistently brought up, and to a massively asymmetric amount to how much the community talks about him. I think he's like a big underdog name that doesn't get the respect. It's in many ways probably deserves the same case to be made for his name from way back when, in a similar way that Prophet has to be. Because I think, for instance,
to your point though,
like Rascal, right? Like,
it's tough to value off tanks.
Yeah.
So it is going to be asymmetrical.
Let's. I hate to do this, but we have 8 matches to discuss.
Yes, that's
true.
And I think
we got to the bottom of it.
I feel like we got to the bottom of it. Void, Goat, then Prophet, then Carpe. Definitive list set here first. That's all that there is to it. Put a stamp on it.
You're just asking for these YouTube comments.
Put a stamp on it and mail it. I just want to see how many people didn't listen to the rest of the conversation.
Did you guys see how I did that? Like, I set my respawn at the bottom of the hill, climbed up the hill, was shot for saying Prophet is a GOAT candidate, climbed up again and said, what about Void, guys? I took it twice. I'm on 2 hills right now.
Recalled all the way back down.
Jeez.
That's what you should do, and you should just walk away from it. But instead, you're just going to get pitchforks and torches.
Nah, instead, I'm going to give them 2 reasons to hate me.
So we are going to go into the first week of the Summer Showdown matches, and we've got 8 of them. But probably we need to discuss a little bit the hero pools for those.
Yes.
And that is Echo, Sombra, D.Va, and Brigitte. So those are the 4, that we are having in the thing in the first 2 weeks. So we have 2 weeks of hero pools and then 2 weeks of no hero pools. And that first week is a seeding round, and that second week is the actual monthly tournament final week thing. So, before we discuss these matches, really quick, Joe, Yiska, thoughts on this hero pool as it pertains to the next 2 weeks?
Well, I enjoy that it's 2 weeks. First, let me just say again, positive note. I enjoy that we have this for 2 weeks.
What we don't like about hero pools for a second?
No, I'm only here to talk about what I like about hero pools today. Now, this seems very not targeted. Targeted feels very conspiratorial on Blizzard's end, but this feels like it's going to be a very slow meta. You have Devil Shield open. You have kind of Brawl, meaning, the Orisa Rhine. That's kind of where I'm headed with it. I think on maps that you can play Ashe, I think that's open as well. I think Control is going to look like Control all season long. I think that's going to be dominated by shotguns and sim teleporters. But outside of that, yeah, I don't see too much crazy shenanigans going on. I think Torb's been a good answer for dive. Could be used on certain maps, I suppose. I don't see him getting a ton of value. I think you could probably get more value out of some other heroes. I think May's obviously going to be super, super important.
You want to hear an interesting thing that I don't think actually will be pronounced in practice, but could have theoretically been the case, and maybe one or two teams benefited from it. So you look at we had a 3-week break, right?
Yeah.
The map hero pools were only known in the last week before, like on Monday, I think teams got the info. So for 3 weeks, 2 weeks prior, they had no idea. Now you look at the bans that actually happened. If you're a team that wanted to continue practicing and then wanted to gamble on what kind of hero pools would be banned, Echo would be your primary choice for a DPS. I think it was the most played DPS. Sombra, okay. Diva might have been the most played tank.
And Brig as well.
And Brig, I believe, was also the most played support. So theoretically, if you're just dry scrimming and just going, okay, what was played the most by the...
Is that a term?
That's the medical term.
Yeah, that's
dry scrim.
Dry scrim. Yeah, that's got to go into the show note title somewhere. The show title somewhere. Dry scrim. All right.
Then I didn't even think it in this way. Whatever. Then it's...
I don't know what way you could be thinking of it. We've lost. The show is derailed because these boys can't properly moisturize. This is actually the hardest I've seen John laugh, I think, ever. Kind of concerned, to be completely honest with you.
So nonchalantly, like because
I didn't think of it. I really didn't.
It was something that he's never.
Not a sentence I think I'd hear, but he's got a case of the giggles. So where were you going with that to begin with, Yiska?
I'm muting my mic.
Well, it's possible that teams that thought, okay, let's keep up. We can't go on breaks, and teams definitely went on breaks. Some teams,
yeah, of course.
If some other teams didn't go on breaks, and were, for instance, scrimming contenders teams, and didn't have an idea what to not scrim, then they might have gotten 3 out of the 4 bans correctly just by using the most placed, and that might give them a big advantage coming into this meta. Even though, yes, finding out metas only really happens in conjunction with everyone else playing, because I think it's much harder to find the optimal meta by yourself, only scrimming contenders teams, instead of like having the entire machinery of scrims where everyone's just like trying to find the best thing, and then that cross-pollination or the Torb virus type of phenomena taking place, where you can really cross-pollinate each other and give each other the best ideas how to solve this meta. So maybe schmaybe, not a big chance that this happened, but not impossible.
Yeah, definitely not impossible. Not a zero-sum chance. I don't know how much that'll impact, like even just like looking briefly, glancing at the matches, I don't know how much that'll impact like the overall like predictions either way. Like if I gave some of these teams an extra couple weeks to practice, I really don't think that it's going to matter too terribly much.
I think it would matter to London.
I don't think so. Maybe in week 2, but definitely not week 1 or week 19 in week 20.
It also might matter to NYXL.
I don't think so.
Okay, let's talk.
We'll talk about that.
Let's talk about the individual matches then.
Yeah,
and let's do an easy one, maybe. And this is London versus Shanghai.
Yeah.
This is an 86% favored match, according to oddsportal.net, for the Shanghai Dragons here. They're definitely favored. 86-14. Is that a genuine a genuine number? Is that?
I think it's aggressive. I still kind of, even though hero pools are now on 2 weeks, I still think that you'd be hard pressed to try and sell me above 70%. So I think I have to hit a ceiling there and just say 70-30. Like, yeah, Shanghai is very, very clearly the favorite here, 100%. But no team's perfect in hero pools. They should win. They probably will win. If I was a betting man, I'd say they
have the undisputed GOAT on your team.
It's true. The undisputed GOAT.
Undisputed GOAT. We already discussed this. Rewind if you want to know more about the undisputed GOAT of Overwatch League. Okay.
Yeah, Shanghai
I don't have any controversial opinions about this.
No, that's a tough one to sell. That's a tough one to try and get either.
All.
Yeah.
Even 70-30, I'm like, you're just being...
It's safe.
Seatbelt Joe, like buckle up for safety.
The brand. That's the brand. Everybody wear your helmets. Have got your knee pads on, your elbow pads.
Buckle up
now
for
we
safety.
Now we can step outside.
Unless he turns into Chengdu Joe, which point
it's true.
Irrational.
He's convinced he can just like buffer the impact of 100.
If I fall hard enough, I'll go into shock and I won't feel anything. Type of deal. Hit the deer head on. You don't swerve.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Dry
Turn
scrim.
into the skid, not out of it.
True.
There you go. Life lessons here on Tactical Crouch. Okay, nothing novel to say here, but this is an interesting one. This one is arguably our match of the week, I would say, and that is going to be the New York Excelsior versus the Seoul Dynasty. Odds Portal has them at 69-31 in favor of the Seoul Dynasty.
Yeah. Can we all say that at once? 1, 2, 3. Nice.
Let's go. That's close.
I was like, are we predicting at once? Are we like, I don't know what we're doing.
Nice.
So, okay. So obviously NYXL added Hacksaw here. Mandu is also eligible to play. Seoul. Am I blanking on Seoul? Or they didn't change anything, did they?
They got Slime, but
yeah, that's true. Slime still hasn't seen playtime, so maybe we'll see him this week. I don't know. Yeah. I don't. Are you sold on NYXL? I mean, obviously they just got Haksal, they got Mandu, but are you sold on them yet? Because I don't know.
On NYXL?
Yeah. NA is back. That's true.
I think Nene being back
is
like these two being back is actually pretty nuts.
I mean, those two, Nene being back, Mandu being in, Haksal being in is big, but we haven't seen that team play.
Joe, there's a sniper in the hills.
I'm ducking.
He has the weapon directly on your head.
Uh-huh.
He gives you one chance for your life.
Sure.
He tells you, give us the worst position that's left on NYXL. So who's the worst remaining starter while also considering backups?
With backups, that's disingenuous because some roles don't have backup.
Yeah.
I'd say Flex Tank.
Really?
Yeah, I've never been a big fan of Hoppa.
Good done. Bianca's behind that.
Not somebody who I highly rate. Mono, yeah, that was kind of where I was like, this is kind of unfair. I can't really pick on Mono because he doesn't have an understudy, but yeah, I could see that too. Like their tank line, especially in the May Melee, was very underwhelming. I don't know. That's one of those things that's like, I don't know if it's...
This is Summer Showdown.
It's true. It is the Summer Showdown.
It's the Summer Showdown.
But they still kind of fed. And I don't know if that's necessarily Mono's fault or if that was like just complete team-wide fall apart. because that NYXL looked very, very, very poor.
I don't think it was Hotbar's problem. I think Hotbar.
No, I don't think it was Hotbar either. But I not a flex tank I've rated in history all that highly. I think they're very, very good flex tanks. Not so much. I think he's fine, but I think you can improve. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sold on this New York roster though. I need to see it. There's a lot of moving parts here.
It's just very strange to me that in a role like main tank that now across the league has generally backups, with the exception the good teams other than Sado, I think, right? That the NYXL didn't go for that. Of course,
who do you get though? That's the thing. It's like, where do you go for a main tank? Main tank, again, since the start of the season, I've been banging this drum. It's like, I agree, you should have an understudy at main tank. I've been kind of talking about the main tank bullpen, but where do you pull from? I think you have Mag. I think you have Muse as like two standout candidates for 2021. But to play this season, where do you go?
It's Mag. Why not Mag?
Sure. I mean, you got to pay some money
as a backup just to raise him. Like,
so let me ask you this:
is NYXL the team right now?
Serviceable, Joe.
Is NYXL the team right now that's pulling punches because of money?
I don't think, but it's also like you got to sign Mag and Hoxall. Like that's a lot
I
of
agree.
cash.
That's a lot of cash, but at the same time, I don't know that we've ever seen NYXL
pull any punches on that front.
Pull punches on the cash money front, because Sabiobi has his own clothing line, and that just kind of, I think props up the organization. Yeah.
100%.
That's how we do it. Those Sabiobi jean jackets, dude, is the lifeblood of the NYXL salary cap.
To be fair, it's probably going down in sales because Nene is back and he's benching that boy.
I think you could keep Sabiobi on that like roster and never play him, and he'd still be like the face of the brand. He'd still be the face of the team. People would still play SBB, you coward signs in the crowd. Like,
show me somebody who didn't immediately go to like Jaehong for so long, right? Same thing.
Yep. Not gonna play. Shouldn't play. Probably. I think he's been, again, serviceable, but we all know what happens to serviceable players on this podcast. That being said,
they get dunked on.
Well, sure, that's one way to put it. Where would you guys rather spend the budget money? Like, if you were NYXL and had a budget, you either can have Hoxall or you can have Mag, but you can't have both. Where do you go? I know my answer.
Well, the thing is, I would have to know what the problem with Libero is. I still don't understand what the problem is.
Sure.
And theoretically, it would have to make main tank because you're triple stacking flex DPS.
Yeah.
Unless you're selling one of these boys for good money.
I think you can offset
Nene, who
Libero.
are you? Going to Justice. We already discussed this. I've already told you what's going to happen.
He's seen in the tea leaves. The orb has been passed.
Plenty of money for Mag.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, I don't even know if it's a Libero problem. I've always wondered if he had a gun to his head throughout his entire existence on NYXL, because at first it was like, oh, well, Flower's going to replace you. It's just a matter of time. That never happened. Season 2, not so much. Season 3, we're back to, oh, now it's who are you? Like, are you going to perform? Are you going to perform? Definitely still has performed. Looked great. I don't know that they've been ever sold on Libero. Even going back to, like, again, season 1, I thought he was going to go to Dallas.
What a travesty.
It's sad, but I don't know. I don't know that it's if it's they're targeting him. I don't know if they're getting rid of him. I think Who Are You's definitely out. But yeah, I think I'd probably go with Mag, as controversial as hot an opinion that might be.
Controversial. I think everybody immediately when NYXL signed Haxall, again, like, this is just like probably some level of bias on who's on my timeline and whatnot.
Sure.
But I feel like immediately I saw like, whoa, this is huge.
But
is it needed?
Yeah.
And I think that's still, like to Yiska's initial question is like, what's the weakest part? This doesn't really resolve that yet.
It doesn't, but I will say that it does play into this new look NYXL that the new kind of coaching staff regime is trying to put forward. This more aggressive, more proactive. If you're going to have a spearhead, that might be the best spearhead in the game. To really just give him the reins to take over the team and just lead the charge, that might be it.
Get him to lead the charge?
No, lead the charge for the NYXL. Like metaphorically.
Got it.
Yes. I think that makes a lot of sense. I just need to see it work. Again, we have never seen, and again, this seems very weird to say, but it's true. We've never seen Hoxhall play on a team outside of the Runaway core. Ever. Started on Runaway, stayed with Runaway to go to Vancouver. This is the first time we've seen him outside of that core that was kind of not built around him, but built with him, at least in mind. So what does this look like? Does he play? Weirdly enough, I don't know.
Sign bumper.
I think that fits as well. If you're going to be aggressive, that would work.
So I would just like to see that experiment. I don't care if it's good. I just would like to see it.
Sure.
That is one of these human social experiments that need to happen just for me to have closure on what his actual skill set is.
Yeah.
This is deviating a little bit from the match, but chat is having a spirited discussion about mono. And some people are very much saying mono is the best, most consistent tank in the league and only had one bad match. And others are saying mono is not that great at all. How would you guys, how would you quickly clean that up? How would you quickly clean when you have people who are arguing about how good mono is?
I think compared to the field, because the talent pool is so shallow at that role, I'd still say he's like within some of the best. I will say that he has looked a little underwhelming, at least recently. But again, to draw a parallel to another game, if you're familiar with it, like League of Legends, if there's very few junglers, if I'm to hopefully get this correct, so forgive me if I'm off. Junglers don't necessarily carry games a lot of the time. Your jungler looks bad if your team's performing bad. Similar with the main tank, right? Like your main tank looks bad, but if your team's performing well, you have, positive reviews of the main tank. Very rarely do you see a main tank just kind of take control of the game and just clutch it out. And we have a very short list of those players. Yagusha, Fissure, Mono in the past at least, and, hit or miss in the Overwatch League era, but I still think he's up there. I don't think that there's a ton of replacements that are at least tested yet. I think there are some fantastic prospects coming into 2021, but yeah, it's tough to argue otherwise. I think that when NYXL looks poorly or looks poor, he looks poor, but that's kind of it's part of the role.
Yeah, it's just part of the nature of Overwatch.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think Mano is still a top 5 tank, but towards the bottom. Because
I think that's fair.
People like Gusha, like Fearless, have definitely suggested themselves to be stronger performers this season, and that isn't a slight to Mano. It's just he also has to accustom himself to a playstyle that was never really his. Like as long as Mano has been, I actually don't know that. Let me not make that argument. But from the times that I paid attention to Mano, he was always the monkey that was hiding away and trying to play not aggressively, but situationally or like adaptively. And like I feel like also I would just have to look at the details because I smell my own BS in just like in that. They're playing very aggressive narrative, and that doesn't fit Mano's style. Like we're using that as a tool when we don't really know what that actually means. What I will say is, when Mano charges this season, I'm scared for his life.
I mean, like there are plenty of main tanks that like charge and do some wonky stuff.
Yeah.
I will say though, I agree with your own kind of BS filter where it's like, you guys remember where Mono came from? Probably one of the most aggressive teams in like Apex era history in AF Blue. And he put up some like stupid stats, like dumb. He moved from main support to main tank and like fragged out of his mind on Winston. So I don't know that like you just lose that styling. I don't think that just kind of like goes away. I think he's just kind of like, you can put him into a lot of different styles and I think he'll be fine. Maybe he's, lent to one side, but I wouldn't say that he's like bad at being aggressive.
Okay. All right. We did that. So let's make a prediction here. I give it. I don't want to go
Joe.
first.
No, Joe. We're going to disagree.
All right, Joe, you go first.
I think looking at this hero pool, I think talking about confidence, I say Soul. 65.
Okay.
65-35.
Great.
I say 60 NYXL.
Big gamble.
I
don't hate it, but it's a gamble.
Okay, I'm glad you guys at least disagree because I have 60 Soul.
Yeah,
and I think I'm a little bit more. I'm like Joe. I'm a little bit risk averse in the sense that I think I'm gonna rate something I haven't really seen come into fruition. Like Hacksaw could come on, be the difference maker, click right in, puzzle piece, and we'll laugh at anybody who thought that NYXL couldn't beat Soul.
You want a spicy prediction? I think
Hacksaw won't even
NYXL. I think they try to make Doom Genji work again.
Oh no.
Yep.
Don't tell me that.
All season long, they've been throwing. They've had a map. I feel like in every set, and this isn't true. I know that this isn't true, but it feels true. That every set they have that one map that they're like, Ball Zarya Genji Doom is open, guys. We could first fight this.
Okay. I don't hate this from a theoretical point of view where it works. In a universe where it works and Huayu is on Genji and Haxol is on Doom,
yeah,
I'm getting aroused right here. But there's zero universes in which this happens. Like maybe there's some. I don't know enough about that specific meta strategy and how it fits into.
I don't know what they see in it. I don't know why they keep trying to force it to work. Since week 1 of this season, they've always had that map that they're like, we could dive this, and I didn't hate it. But now it's becoming a contentious point where it's like, you guys keep trying to force this in hero pools where it just isn't gonna work.
Yeah. Okay. Yiska. You said NYXL.
NYXL.
60-40. Okay. Fair enough. That's our match of the week. It's going to be a good one.
Good. I hope it's good.
I heard there's also just like a 30% chance it's a 3-0 one way or another. And it's
it's just like, NYXL isn't ready yet.
There is a very solid chance that it isn't actually the match of the week and it will be like Atlanta Gladiators.
We've been really hit and miss with our matches of the week.
Weirdly
Florida,
enough.
Dallas.
Yeah, Florida Dallas might be actually like a sick match.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go on to the next one though, and that is going to be the Boston Uprising versus the Paris Eternal.
Sparkle's debut.
Sparkle's debut.
Probably.
Hopefully. Xe is back.
That I'm not sure.
I don't know.
I forgot. Is it
chat?
Is it July or June that Xe's back? Let us know, chat.
I thought
I think you might have them flipped. Yeah, I'm not sure. Xe is coming. Not sure if it's this weekend. Okay, thank you. Sparkle's birthday was, I think, in June sometime. So he is now of age and can play. So we hypothetically could see him debut against Boston.
Dude, imagine if you're a small little Boston. You had some success recently, and you're building up your confidence. And along comes this boy, and he just smashes you. Like,
jeez.
Would there be no other like this would be such a deflation of a narrative if Sparkle comes in and loses to Boston.
I am,
and that's not to be like laughed at. Again, like we look at Boston all season.
I disagree.
You think?
Logically, I disagree. I think people will.
Possible. I think illogically, yeah. This is very illogical and like feeling based, where it's like, well, I thought Sparkle was supposed to be good and Boston sucks.
Right.
And then they lose. It's just like, ooh.
Right.
That's rough. I don't think they will, but it's like, ooh, what if though? What if they, try to put him in too early? What if he does kind of play a little too aggressively? Again, something that in Contenders Korea was kind of known to do. Eco has positioned himself on May to be kind of that standout player. Does the meta allow you to switch that out? Do you want to switch that out? It's in a weird way. Sparkle doesn't have to play. He doesn't have to play yet. We want him to. I want him to. I want to see what this team looks like with this player.
Don't chip sauce.
I don't think he has to play. He might not.
No, dude.
He might not.
Please. That would be torture.
Okay.
That would be torture to some degree. At least give him a map.
Are any of you bold enough to predict Boston over Paris here?
No.
Okay.
I think Boston probably will take some maps, but I don't think they'll win.
I've got it like a 3-1.
Yeah, I'm not taking that.
I've got it a 3-1, and it would be a close 3. It was almost a 3-2.
Yep.
One of those things where it's like they hold on second point on like Junkertown or something, and they hold first point on defense, and then lose one fight and lose it all. Like one of those kind of things.
Yep. I think this will continue the trend upwards for Boston. Again, Paris is a very strong team with a new all-star being kind of ejected in this team. I think people will start to kind of swing on Boston. Team on the mend. This isn't the team that you're gonna beat. I don't think that's
it's not the dry discount to the stars.
Yeah, it's not in the dry scrim tea leaves.
Yeah. Okay. Let's go on to the next one. This one could be
this one's good.
A match and a half. And that is the Florida Mayhem versus the Dallas Fuel. So obviously Florida Mayhem coming off of a huge melee, second place overall. And let's actually, I'm going to look at the Summer NA.
I don't know what this one
here. I want to look. So this is pretty interesting. Eric, of course, being awesome, did go ahead and help us like put together who kind of people are facing, and the Florida Mayhem kind of are thrown a middle of the table bone this month. Yeah. They've got Dallas Fuel, LA Valiant, Houston Outlaws. So they've kind of got Dallas Fuel on the other hand, they've got Mayhem. Actually, I wonder how that works, but they've got Mayhem, they've got Vancouver, and they've got Defiant. So it's kind of interesting how that's going to all kind of break out. But Dallas has been spoken of fondly. I think we can say that since their melee performances, and obviously Florida Mayhem are really highly thought of after a huge melee performance. So is this a close one? I think naturally, the natural inclination, if you just go gut check, you're going to just do a gut check based on all the social media you saw, no looking at different film, anything like that. You're going to go Florida Mayhem, right? But after you've gone beyond the gut check here, Yiska, is this a Mayhem win?
It's a hard one, depending on the meta as well, right? Like this is rough. So what
and you also have to remember, Paintbrush has been signed to the Dallas Fuel. So again, probably won't move the needle. Yeah. But keep in mind,
I think Florida 65, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm leaning Florida here. Again, if we're going to kind of continue, not the myth, but the eye test of confidence, like the team that wins or performs very well will continue to perform well, even in like a chaotic system like this. I do think Florida should be given the edge. I think a lot of the positives you can say about Dallas, you can also kind of mirror in some degree to Florida. And in other ways, they kind of look better just on a individual versus individual kind of vacuum argument basis. I like Florida's chances here. I will say I do have some questions on Yaki without Brig. I do have some questions with Chris still. He's looked fine. Melee, he looked fine. Did not seem like a hole. I'm still not necessarily convinced. I'm cautiously optimistic for this team going forward. Fantastic performance. Glad to see them on, the franchise mend, doing very well for themselves. I still need consistency. One good performance in a tournament does not mean good team, does not mean bounce back. They've, again, historically, granted, it's just been this season, not the most consistent in hero pools, but there again, not many teams have been. So yeah, I think this is probably more of a candidate for match of the week for me. Interested to see the Ashe matchup between Decay and BQB. If that ends up playing out, that's going to be kind of a banger. Interested to see if BQB can continue to step up to that, and if Decay can kind of recreate what he did in the Melee. Interested to see if Paintbrush sees play time. This is going to be a fun one to watch regardless of the match score, because of kind of the narratives like, okay, can Florida continue? Can Dallas continue to step up? Can Decay continue to carry? What about Paintbrush? There's a lot of moving pieces.
What a time to be alive, where Florida and Dallas is a match you're excited to see.
Yeah, weirdly enough.
How great.
I'm happy about it. It's a good thing.
This is a good time.
Yeah.
This is what you kind of wanted to see, because it felt like for a few weeks this season that we were kind of like talking about like the same 6 to 8 teams over and over and over again, right? And that's broadening a little bit. Every team, like what teams haven't improved besides like Vancouver, Washington, like 2 teams that are just like kind of imploding a little bit and like have fully imploded. Besides that, like which teams haven't improved or outperformed or like at least looked serviceable?
Toronto, yeah.
Toronto.
Houston. See, I feel like history is kind of tainted with Houston as well. Early season 1, like they were like massively overperforming, I feel like.
Or they made it to stage playoffs in stage 1.
I mean, yeah.
Sorry.
It's I think history remembers Houston kind of wrong, as much as we like to bag on them. Yeah, I don't know. That's because Junk Widow was meta. It's true, but in that way, like they still performed.
Yeah.
Yep.
No, it's true. But
Toronto definitely is probably the leading that charge.
So Yiska, who did you have of Florida over Dallas?
I said, did I say 60 or 65 Florida?
I think you said 65.
65. Yeah, 65 Florida.
And Joe, what did you say?
I say 60 Florida.
That's fair. That's where I am too.
Cautiously optimistic.
Yeah.
Liking what I'm seeing, but I need to see it longer stretches. I want to see this continue before I can start slamping like 70-30s on these games.
Yeah.
Sure. Let's go to the next one.
70-30s will come back once we're going into the second week of Hero Pools.
Oh, of course.
I think I feel much more secure in doing that then.
Yep.
Sure. So the next match is going to be the LA Gladiators versus the Atlanta Reign, and this I think was
I don't like this either way.
This is going to be the match that this is like the new Florida Dallas match. It feels like
I wouldn't go that far.
It feels
far,
a little
but
like
yeah,
the
I know
new
what you
Florida
mean.
Dallas.
Yeah.
It's the new London against Fusion from season 2.
Yeah, kind of.
Okay, so anyways, our analogies are not on point, but this match might be. Obviously, Atlanta Reign have really underperformed. Oh, by the way, 78-22 were the odds for Mayhem versus
78.
That's too heavy. Too heavy.
78 to Mayhem.
That's rough. I understand why, but that's tough.
That's high, but
very high.
Anyways, so this is 59-41 in favor of Gladiators.
59.
So 60-40.
I don't know. I really don't know. This one's tough. Where have we seen the Gladiators look good?
The thing is, you can trust that the Gladiators didn't like. If I read the pay correctly, and yes, he did some like what's it called? Like the stream sideshow, some charity streams,
yeah,
which he probably wouldn't do during like high season. But I think
you think they break.
I would expect them to be one that took less of a break than other teams.
I feel like that's...
Really?
Yeah, I feel like you'd be doing streams on break, not on scrim weeks.
No. Yes, that was kind of like my caveat too. It's weird that he is doing that, but I think that you
also have a coaching staff that's completely stacked that you could probably just let them run it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's also that's possible.
Coach. He checked in as the GM that week and decided to do some streaming.
Where's my GM punch card?
Yeah, and it's like, okay, so let's see. I think both of those teams really can't be that satisfied with where they are. So it's possible that both of them maybe came back earlier to scrims, if that was possible at all. Of course, like
sure.
Sometimes you just can't because there's nobody to scrim, but it's possible, like just from the drive or the expectations that both of those teams should have. I think there's a potential for both teams to have caught up or reinvented themselves to a degree where maybe that's going to be very interesting. I wouldn't count that match out to be a good one.
Sometimes teams don't want to try scrim.
It's true.
Yeah.
Both these teams, I feel like, could have taken a break. I think Atlanta's kind of positioned well to need to take a break.
I have a conspiracy theory that a 3-week break for Atlanta
I'm about it.
Is exactly what they needed. That's what I'm going to say. A 3-week break for Atlanta.
I think I agree.
I don't have any sort of insider information. I don't have anything other than like watching streams. Like it feels like people are a little bit more upbeat and optimistic on the Atlanta Reign streams, and there are emotions there. There's a lot kind of going on. There's a lot of questions surrounding, and it's like 3 weeks is just a good amount of time to be like, you know what? Take some time, regroup, re-strategize. We're not going to dry scrim. We're just going to and then we're going to come back once we've got hero pools, and we're going to start getting back to work and executing our, save our season plan, because this is a team that was a top 6 team.
Should have been.
Was a top 6, and not just in NA, like in the world or in all of Overwatch League. This is a top 6 team.
Yep.
And obviously they're not there. So
I think still can be.
I totally think so too. It's not for
I don't think it's for skill sake. I don't think it's a performance.
It is underperforming. Yeah.
Yes, I think something's not clicking with this team. Something just it's not magic words need to be said, but
magic heads need to be clicked.
No, I don't. I think I don't think they're cohesive. I don't think this is a team. This feels like a group of individuals.
Need to be held.
Yes, magic hands need to be held.
Magic
in the dry scrim.
Cheeks need to be nuzzled.
Oh, I was gonna say clapped, but that too. This really does feel like a toss up. I don't like Glads. I think they've really shown a favoritism towards dive, or they've looked to be, in my memory at least, or successful in dive rather than in double shields or slow comps. Atlanta feels like the team that should be playing slow comps extremely well. but you don't have your star player starting for reasons. This feels 50-50. I really don't like it either way.
A bad Atlanta is still a 50-50, huh?
It's unreasonable how much happier it would improve the quality of my life if Erster came back.
I think if he comes back, they just win.
Yeah, this is the obligatory where's Erster part of the show.
We got it out, you know.
Yeah.
We got the SEO tag. It's in the show now. Yeah, I really have to say 50-50 with the caveat if Erster comes in, I think I have to give a slight edge to Atlanta.
We could just use that every week, right?
Probably. Well, not every week. I think that
every single week. You heard it here first. Oh. Joe says every week that Erster is in, they have a slight edge over any team that they play ever.
Well, they definitely perform. They probably will do better. I don't know. I think Erster on May is something I want to see, but I don't think we will see it. And that's where I go.
Yep.
Oof.
Sure. Okay.
I think we'll see Sideshow.
No, we're not going to see Sideshow. Love you, Sideshow. But
yeah, he had to get it in. Fair enough. Okay, Joe. So you have to make a choice here. Make a call. No 50-50. Give me a 51-49. Atlanta. Yiska, what about you?
60 Gladiators.
60 Gladiators.
Give me like one sentence that qualifies that for me.
Sick coaching staff.
Okay.
I mean, you're not wrong, but
all right. As for me, it's weird. I'm going with my heart on this one, and I'm saying it's like a 55 Atlanta. Very razor thin. I will not be upset at all if Atlanta loses. I will not gloat if they win because it's just that close.
I'll give you a second sentence, Joe. I think it's a lot easier for Gladiators to have used this break in a recuperating way than it is for Atlanta. Because unless Erster comes back, like just like getting OG, like, you know, like at 100%, getting Bertring back in line, crisping that out, resetting the mentals, the potential of that. Like we know that those two are players that are likely the ones that benefit the most from breaks.
Sure, I'd agree.
And it also gives, like if, for instance, if that dry scrimming theory had anything to it, Gladiators would be my top pick.
Sure, I'd agree with that, 100%. I think this is a team that probably did not take a break. And probably
maybe some because they have a good performance coach now, but yeah.
Maybe they cut back on scrims. I don't think that they took a break though. I'd be surprised if they took a break. I kind of think the opposite. I think Atlanta really does need to take a break. I think they're kind of the team, at least in my mind, again, very feeling based. That's the kind of carefree. They play very loose. They're kind of nonchalant about things. Easy come, easy go. Very hard to manage. So once that fire builds, you kind of have to let it burn itself out, if that makes sense. So maybe that break was a good time to just reset everything, come in fresh, long break, actual break, not playing the game, not thinking about the game, maybe, you know, solo queuing, but I like Atlanta here. I think this is a hero pool that leans their way. And I think that break's going to be important, but we'll see. It's a tough call either way. I think both teams could take it, but if I had to pick one, it's Atlanta.
Okay. All right. Let's go to, we've got 3 left. We don't have a ton of time. Let's go to Philadelphia versus Houston. And
Do we have maps for this? No. Rough. I don't know.
The somebody posted the maps earlier. I think if Eric is still here, I'm sure he'll post them again. Maps on match of the week.
Yeah, not all of them though. Yeah, I don't know about Houston. Houston, I think, could pull something out, something a little weird.
Lijiang,
but I think
Hollywood,
it's gonna be tough.
Volskaya, Gibraltar, Busan.
Hollywood. That's a tough one. Yeah, no, I don't see it. I don't see it in the cards. I think if there were different maps, possibly you could see Houston come out with some sort of dive force, but I don't see it on those maps. I think Control you could. What were they? Lijiang, Hollywood, Volskaya?
Lijiang, Hollywood, Volskaya, Gibraltar, Busan.
Yeah, I don't see it. I think they got goofed. I think they're gonna have to play double shield. You might see hydration Muma. That actually might be a thing. And I don't hate that. I'm not opposed to that. On Control, you want to play like Ryan or Issa, put both Maytanks in. I don't hate that. Don't hate that at all. But that's not enough to beat Philly.
Orisa.
I don't think he's bad, but I don't think he has the experience that a main tank would, right?
I think he's the best Orisa on Houston.
I mean, maybe.
Like
Definitely possible it could be.
Yeah.
I don't think they beat Philly though.
Yeah, I know. It's not the hard thing to call Philly the overdog, and I think there's nobody reasonably that could make the case. It's really just a matter of percentages. I think these misrepresented simply because hero pools and whatnot, and all the volatility that comes with breaks and whatnot. 70 fusion.
Yeah.
So I was going to ask Joe if you feel comfortable going above 70.
No.
Cool.
Not on this one.
I get it. Either this is something that is favored 84-16 for Philadelphia Fusion. Again, they're rough, but at the same time, if you don't want to bet on them, then they're not very good.
Gotta make them interesting. Gotta make it interesting.
Yeah.
We're not the odds makers, but I still think that Houston has some tricks up their sleeve. They can be a little hard to deal with. I just don't know if they can find a way with this particular hero pool. This one's a little rough.
Fair enough. Okay. Second to last one, the toilet bowl right now. The Vancouver Titans versus the Toronto Defiant.
I gotta say Toronto.
Yeah, of course.
But I'm interested to see how. I want Toronto to come out and stomp.
They need to.
They definitely need to. But I'm interested. I'm interested to see how quickly they can integrate Numlocked in. How much of an impact he's going to have. We saw a kind of a small heartbeat from them when Cruz kind of stepped into the roster. They kind of took shot close. They performed well. Can Numlocked do the same to kind of get this team up and running again? I think he has the potential to. I think I agree with Yiska's point last show that they've needed a shot caller, and we all know that Numlocked can be a shot caller. Is that enough? Is that enough to kind of get this team off the ground? I think it might be.
So
I definitely think it's enough to beat the Vancouver Titans.
Can the Titans beat the Boston Uprising?
Probably not.
You don't think so? Because here's the thing. They play Defiant, Fuel, Uprising. If they defeat the Defiant, I think you can make the argument that they can defeat the Uprising and they go 2-1.
Sure. It's a big if.
Big if.
Big if.
But interesting,
we'll
nonetheless.
If that's the case, then I would be inclined to agree. Or at least make it more competitive. But yeah, I don't see it yet. I think Vancouver still is. Oh man, what a team! That's tough. That's a tough one to call. I like Toronto here. I like Toronto a lot. I want to see them come out and stomp, and I want to see them next week perform well. I think this is a team that has the markings to be kind of on the come up.
Dude, if they lose this game, ripperino.
Oh yeah,
the mentals of anyone on that team.
The mentals were already gone. This somehow makes them farther
if
gone.
Boston loses the game,
no, Toronto. If Toronto loses this game against the Vancouver Titans,
sorry, yeah, I was thinking about a different, totally different match.
We're done here. Just wrap it up.
But this is a confidence game, especially like I'm not sure what the Numlock situation is. If he still has a visa, maybe he could because of Montreal.
He's
right?
playing online.
Probably, yeah.
More likely than not.
And I also don't know if he was actually ever in the team house, and like that's something.
Sure.
But yeah, I think they should slap. Hopefully, for them to have any say, I would be thrilled though for the Titans guys if they got a victory there, because it also can't feel good to be in that position. So
no, not at all.
Yeah, it would feel great for Toronto to beat the season 2 runner-ups.
Yeah, right.
65.
It's not even fair, man. It's really not fair to like. It's true.
Yeah.
But it's not fair.
I know.
Yeah.
It's so funny.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I think Toronto wins this, Toronto wins this. The Bacatical, the Canadal, battle for
battle in Canada, battle for the North,
the battle for Canada. Yep,
the Northern Strife.
All right, that's enough. Last but not least, the LA Valiant versus the Washington Justice. By the way, if you're ever wondering why I stumble, is I'm working really hard to get you those timestamps, and I have to type them in and try to talk. So I apologize. I know I do that clumsily. Valiant versus Washington Justice. I feel really bad
for
the Washington Justice.
I don't.
This season, or this homestand, or this tournament showdown.
Okay.
The Summer Showdown.
Do they have like a hard
LA Valiant, San Francisco Shock, LA Gladiators?
That's tough. That's not easy. But I don't think it really matters. So unlucky.
Yeah. So anyways, let's go back to this here. We've got the odds 79% in favor of the LA Valiant. Joe, is this the one that you're willing to go above 70% on?
I think it's the closest out of all of them. I do not see.
You don't give it a 70.5?
Much positive on the Justice. Is there the break could bring something about, but I don't know. This is the closest. I'm still not willing to go over. I'm hitting the ceiling on this one. It's definitely 70-30 Valiant. Maybe Valiant gets in their own way. I don't know. I don't see it. I don't see a world where Justice can win this. This is tough.
Yeah. No.
New roster.
Yeah. This might actually be just like from where they are and who they got, it might actually be the worst iteration the Justice has had this season.
Yeah, maybe. I think I'd agree. Like, unless they've got more signings coming.
I just put a piece out earlier where I argued that Janu is a fine free agent to pick up when you're planning for a full Korean roster, because there aren't that many freely available right now.
Sure.
But I honestly think he's overrated by many, and
Justice is going full
more
Korean,
so than
though.
any other.
Yeah,
more so than any other Justice player. Former
Titans
Runaway / Titans player. He will struggle the most out of the Stella 6 or 7 that we're playing. I think, with the exception of probably Bumper, of course. Like, he's the guy where you would say, would he work the worst out of possibly, right? But after that, it's Janu for me. I think SMS could work in way more
Do you not count
rosters.
Stitch?
Oh no, I don't count Stitch.
Okay, I didn't think so.
Stitch never worked, so he can't work less than worked. Not worked, sorry. But he has to play too. Oh man. I mean, I think Stitch will still perform well.
Yeah.
I don't think he will have a complete blowout of a game. But like if KSP really gets in there, especially if he gets in there, ooh, dude,
elbow deep.
Oh,
yeah,
like KSP in duels against
not gonna be nice.
Stitch on Trace. It's going to be rough. Like that's not a game I would like to start. Like there's only so many Traces which would hurt harder. Like Yaki, if you have your first regular starting match against Yaki, that would hurt a lot.
Yeah.
I think that same would probably be true against.
It's
like
everything that you want to put him on is open and could be played, but it's like you have such a steep competition. Shax has looked standout on Tracer.
Shax.
You want to really put him against KSP, who looks to be a Rookie of the Year candidate on specifically HitScan. It's like everything historically that you want to put Stitch on, he's going to get exposed. If you thought of him as royalty, we're lifting the veil on this match in particular. Like this one's going to be rough. Now,
he's new.
If for whatever, divine power hits him, in whatever planets align, that for him to actually do well, I wonder. I don't know. I really have to see it. I don't know that it's possible, and I don't know how it would affect my view of the Justice, and I don't know how it would affect my view of Stitch either. That'd be kind of interesting. Does Stitch have anything left in this? He is Q2 Rec. That's right. That is a good way to put it. Yeah, I don't see it. I think he's below serviceable and has had a long career. Let's give him the Miro burial and ship him out to sea.
Ship
him out to sea, he says. All right. Somber ending. That was good set. But yeah, you're right. Hey chat. Thanks for hanging out today, by the way. I hope you guys had fun.
Yes.
Y'all are looking. Oh, should we give him being such a bummer? We might.
It being such a bummer.
There it is. Quit being such a bummer. I don't think we were at this at all this time, but hey, it's always fun. We got to press that at least once an episode, right?
Gotta use it. You made it.
True.
Big thanks to everybody who hung out today. Hope you had a ton of fun. And a big thank you to our patron producers. Battlecrab, Pin, Lotion, Charlie L, Audio Compass, Porkchop, Sammy, Kasha67, Kuchi, Kopi, Shara, Picasso, Nathan, Your Misery, Hunter Tane, Refined Bean, Rex Zane, and Roger B. Thank you so much. Patreon.com/tacticalcrouch is where you can go. And Roger B, thank you so much for being a brand new patron producer. We love you very much. You're so good. New subs. We got some new subs on the show. It's not too late, chat, by the way. I think we had Yiska do it last time. So, Joe, let's have you
new subs.
Who subbed?
Who subbed? I don't know if they're all from today, and if not, it doesn't matter because we all love you equally. We don't pick favorite children here.
We do.
We have Mick Sneakerton. Okay, apparently we do.
We have a list.
We have Mick Sneakerton. We have Boo Man Fu. Shrugzix gifted a sub to That Guy Who Cooks. Pin to Paper. Tap2GG. P Scott 15. And Rick the Demigod. Thank you for your continued support. Or welcome to the club. And if you don't have the financial means to support the show, you can also leave a 5-star iTunes review. And Foreskin 420. Thank you so much. Why do you do this to me? I hate you. Hey. He tells me to read what's on the card. I read what's on the card. That's what you get. Clip it and ship it.
There's nobody named Foreskin.
No, I know. I'm well aware. I am very well aware. This is what I have to deal with.
You have to deal with. Jeez. All right. Well, That was a show and a half. We're going to go ahead and do shout outs for the week and where people can find you. And in rare fashion, I'm going to go first. You can find me everywhere at KickedTripod except for YouTube. So twitch.tv/KickedTripod, twitter.com/KickedTripod, and Instagram.com/KickedTripod. I am all over doing lots of things there. Hopefully we hear more about Partner soon. I did start a new YouTube channel. So the show's YouTube is now at youtube.com/tacticalcrouch, and it inherited essentially what was formerly youtube.com/KickedTripod. So I started a new one, and I'm trying to build it up there and hopefully get it, to the size that is whatever. We're growing it. So I don't have the actual link for it right now, but if you go to my Twitter, twitter.com/KickedTripod, it is my pinned tweet right now, I believe. It's my new YouTube channel. So please take a second, go subscribe, as well as I think we posted it in chat earlier. And if somebody has that link and wants to post it again for me, that'd be awesome. Other than that, nothing new or crazy coming out. My gym's opening up on Saturday. I'm really excited about that. I've been racing the Mayhem. I actually hit a new milestone there.
Oh,
out of the
nice.
220s.
Congratulations.
Out of the 220s.
Nice,
for
nice.
the first time in about a year and a half. So
Very
we continue to race those Mayhems. And yeah. All right. Well, that's it for me. Joe, shout outs for the week. Where can people find you?
It's on the socials everywhere at the usual places. I don't think I need to spell it out for anybody anymore. I think if you're following, you probably figured that out by now. This week, tonight, I'm writing something about the Titans. Kind of painting a picture and a narrative that ties all of the nonsense together. And then talking about Fearless again this week as well, probably coming out this weekend or early next week. Talking about what a career this kid has had and the ups and downs of it. And then probably Valorant chalking points on Friday at some point for the show on Spike Drop. So yeah, stay tuned for that. And yeah, follow me on all the socials.
Sweet. Yiska, what about you? Shout out for the weeks and where can people find you?
As always, on my Twitter account at Yiska Out, I just put up. I evaluated the best mid-season pickups for today's article. That should have gone out like an hour ago, or two. I'm not sure. About like who my top 5 best pickups in the mid-season are. There weren't many. There were like 24, and a lot of them came through like Titans just having to pick up an entirely new team, and then also like the old Titans dispersing. But there are also like huge pickups, of course, to be made. I kind of evaluated them depending on like what they do for that team. So check that out. Other than that, yeah, on Friday, as always, previews. And if you're a fan of Valorant, I'm going to have probably an analysis piece. I'll have to grind bots tomorrow, but yeah, that's coming as well.
All right. That's it. Chat, thanks for hanging out. Patreon.com/tacticalcrouch, twitch.tv/KickedTripod, twitter.com/tactical_crouch. Join us Monday, Wednesday, Friday here on Twitch at noon for Tactical Crouch and Spike Drop. That's going to do it for us. We will see you on Friday for Spike Drop, otherwise next Monday for Tactical Crouch. Come join us in Discord, discord.me/YiskaOut. Watch the games with us this weekend. It'll be a ton of fun, and we're probably going to be doing game night next week. So if you want to be a patron and be a part of game night, now's the time to do that. Bye. Be careful. Don't dry scrim without. I was gonna make a off-color joke. That was bad. Just don't dry scrim. Okay, and wash your genitals.